Time is just gone 10 minutes to 10 a.m. as we continue ahead towards closure this morning on news and views. And looking at South Africa, and the focus once again is on leadership. And the question is, do we have a leadership vacuum? South Africa trapped again. What kind of leaders can set the country free? Now, we've seen former South African President Thabo Mbeki recently painting a very gloomy picture of the country, about the prospects of the country, and also saying that the current governing body government of the African National Congress, led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, did not have a national plan to address the country's many problems, socio-economic, and also looking at all the other woes that the country is experiencing, and also at the same time expressing concern about ANC politicians who did not serve the people of South Africa. Joining us for this discussion is Postdoctoral Research Fellow at the Ali Mazrui Centre for Higher Education Studies, University of Johannesburg. We're joined by Dr. Tshepo Moloi. Dr. Moloi, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum and a warm greeting to your listeners.
Walaikum salam. Yes, wonderful that you are able to join us this morning, Dr. Moloi. And just looking at what President Thabo, or former President Thabo Mbeki, had to say, this gloomy picture again, focusing on the leadership of the country. Do we have a leadership vacuum? Do we have leaders that can actually set this country free of all the problems that we are experiencing?
So, yeah, that's a very, very important question given where we are now. We're looking at our education system. There's a lot of noise now about decolonizing the curriculum, looking at the corruption rates from government. We're looking at the dilapidated state of what formerly was the Scorpions, and now, we have the Hawks. Arthur Fraser is taking the president on. So I think the country is in a conundrum. The politicians have shown that they definitely have lost, what the nation, the mandate that they were supposed to carry. They've definitely lost them. So is there a leadership vacuum? Arguably, from where everybody stands right now in society, it's a definite yes.
Yes, and clearly there is a disconnect, and this is what Thabo Mbeki actually spoke about, where he talked about ANC politicians who did not serve the people of South Africa. They were focused on themselves, on self enrichment, but also the absence of the social compact, because there is absolutely no collaboration between government, civil society, communities, and right across the entire country. We find that this is a trend.
So, look, this conversation about the social compact and programs between government and civil society, it's a conversation that I think places a lot of attention on stuff that really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what we need here is honest individuals who are going to take responsibility in whatever public portfolio that they occupy. It doesn't matter at which level, it doesn't matter in which particular position, but they're going to be honest and they are going to actually be responsible and man up, to whatever mandate that they're given. So for me, we can talk about, all the stats, criminal stats, rape stats. I see in your previous conversation, this was also a case in point. But if we continuously put the wrong appointments in important key positions, we cannot expect different results. Okay? We're just basically repeating the same errors again and again. So for me, I think we need to start looking beyond the ANC. We need to stop looking at expecting politicians in the way that they operate now as the future. We need to start reimagining a South Africa beyond partisan politics. Okay, so of course, the constitution here becomes a very huge, um, fact, because it's been abused, by the very custodians who are supposed to be, compliant to it. And so these are the conversations, and that's where the attention for me should be based.
Well, certainly, and also taking this conversation further, and this raises a question because, looking at the current crop of leadership in the country, in the governing party, President Cyril Ramaphosa and his crew are the best we have. I shudder to think what is actually going to come next, and that is the reason why we are talking about a new generation of leaders. We're talking about transformational leaders. We're talking about the kind of leaders that are sincere, that are genuine about rescuing South Africa from its current predicament.
In my humble opinion, um, I wish you did not say that President Ramaphosa and his cabinet are the best we have.
Under
in
the
my
circumstances, yes.
No, no, they definitely are not what South Africa needs. They have been guilty of the same old corruption, getting their hands caught in the cookie jar, own gold, the very corruption they claim they want to fight against, they are complicit themselves. So no, and I don't want to place too much attention on them. I want us to focus more on, you know, um, these leadership, or the leadership that ideally South Africa needs to be looking forward to achieving. Um, and for me, here you are, if we just leave away names and we talk about a criteria, you're looking at basically your millennials who would not be above 40 years old, who ideally would have two qualifications post matric and have a track record of public service. It doesn't matter. It could be, in the criminal justice system. It could be, doing something in their communities. Anything to that effect. These are the kind of individuals for me that I would like South Africa to start talking about, to start discussing, to start exploring as the future leaders of this country.
Yes, and I'm sure that there is no shortage of the type of leaders that you are talking about and the criteria by which they would be selected to lead the country, Dr. Moloi.
Yeah. So I want to recommend in this conversation a book. It just came out this year by Songezo Zibi. Songezo Zibi used to be the former um, he used to be the former editor of Business Day, and he started something called the Rivonia Circle. And you might want to consider getting hold of him and interviewing him. But he comes out with a book that says the manifesto, a new vision for South Africa. And in the book, he actually mentions what his manifesto for South Africa should be. And I'm just going to say it quickly so that, there's no need for us to waffle. So, in page 182 of his book, he lists the 10 things that, he suggests as a manifesto that is needed in this country. Number one, he says, we need to take away the centrality of political power. So the people need to reclaim the power they have that they give to politicians through the vote. Number two, a social democratic alternative. So this idea of looking and thinking beyond the ANC and not always talking about the ANC as if they're the alpha and omega. Number three, accept responsibility of leadership and patriotism. So each and every citizen above 18 needs to start taking their own responsibility. What role are they playing in the country? And then create new political rules and consolidate democracy. I think that speaks for itself. And then the next point is pursue national unity of purpose. So not this fake partisan unity, but actual unity across party political lines. And then and social oppressions. One of them, of course, would be, against oppression of women, raping women, against the abuse of children, Access to education must be made. So you are looking at that argument of free education and all of that stuff. And then reinterpret freedom. So we need to start again reviving the conversation we had pre 94 about what is the democratic South Africa that we imagine. And clearly, the ANC's track record post 94 has given us all, all the examples that we do not want in a democracy in South Africa. And then lastly, to ensure economic inclusivity, because that's a big one. Without jobs, without any economic support, capital is really something that a lot of South Africans still don't have, the joy or the luxury to attain. So that's a big one. And then lastly, rethink and reorganize the economy. So these are just some of the points in his manifesto, in the book on a manifesto for governing in the new South Africa. And so for me, this is where we need to spend and invest more attention on these points. And let's stop talking about individuals. It's not helping. They can go be bashed in their own regard. But we need to focus on a healthy conversation that can actually take all of us forward.
Well, Dr. Moloi, I must say it's been an absolutely fascinating discussion with you this morning, and there's just so much that you brought to the discussion. There's so much food for thought, and we definitely will get our hands on the book. We definitely will interview the author as well. I think there's just so much more that we can add value to this discussion and unpack. But for now, sadly, time is of the essence. We've run out of time. But as always, we appreciate you taking time out, talking to us here right on Salam Media. All the best to you.
Inshallah. Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dr. Tshepo Moloi joining us this morning. And with that, we're going to go for a quick break. And we come back. We are going to be talking with Sheikh Muntaha Kenny.